Hello, this is Michael, atheist and alcoholic. I am attending 90 AA meetings in 90 days. Nothing discussed in these videos will ever undermine the anonymity of AA. Today, meeting 69, and maybe I should have planned this video out. I have several threads of thought concurrently in my head. I don't know that I can untangle them in a coherent way throughout the video, but I'm going to try. So I did a secular meeting, and I'm going to sound like an elitist asshole. Maybe I am in this regard. But there are a lot of extremely intelligent people in the traditional AA meetings. The proportion seems to be a little higher in the secular meetings. It was a smaller group. Everybody had something extremely helpful to say. Everyone in this small group, very intelligent, very well spoken. Not that there's plenty of smart people in the regular AA meetings. It just seems to be a greater proportion in the secular meetings. And again, I know I sound like an asshole saying that. The topic was on the danger of over elation. Not something that was an issue for me personally, but I understand how it can be for a lot of people. The danger being that when things are good, there's a way to make them better. For me personally, I kind of resonant with at least the first half of the first step in AA, accepting that you're powerless over alcohol. I realized that in my early 20s that there was only one way for me to drink, and that's until I get blackout drunk. That rarely accentuated or augmented any activity. And I knew that. I knew that it would just ruin it. If I was going to a concert, I'm not getting drunk because I'm not going to remember the fucking concert. Drinking was the activity. So I guess in some way I kind of intuitively did the first half of the first step. I knew it was not going to control. Hopefully that was okay. I knew I was not going to control the amount that I drank once I started drinking. So when I'm drinking, that's what I'm doing. People, even towards the end of my drinking in grad school, friends after a big test or something, they would ask me to go out and celebrate with them. I'm like, I got drinking to do, you guys. Like, hanging out with you guys is just going to get in the fucking way. And they knew I was an alcoholic. They knew what I was going to go home to do with a fifth of whiskey. So for me, the over elation wasn't really an issue because I solved that problem in the worst possible way. I drained all the joy from the bottom of the bottle, and there was a couple other people the same thing. Once the alcoholism gets so advanced, the pleasure circuitry is no longer really activated with it. Its sole purpose is to kill pain. And that was the purpose towards at least the last 5 years, the only purpose that alcohol served for me. And it was good at that. It was good at making me, at eliminating feelings that I did not want to feel. So for my share, I talked about one of my favorite quotes. It's probably the most famous quote, the most quoted sentiment in Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, is that happiness cannot be pursued, it must ensue. And he goes on to say that if you want somebody to laugh, you can't tell them, laugh. You have to tell them a fucking joke. You have to give them a reason to laugh. In the same way, happiness, you have to give yourself a reason to be happy by doing something meaningful. That's kind of the whole point of the book. And this was written, if people aren't familiar, written by a survivor of the Holocaust of Auschwitz, who went on, he was a clinical psychologist before being imprisoned in Auschwitz and various other camps, and continued his clinical practice and became one of the leading experts in happiness and meaning. So, Jesus Christ. Another thing that helped me was this is more of a Buddhist principle, I believe, is where I stole that from, is making the distinction between happiness and pleasure. Asking myself before indulging in something or any activity, making a purchase. I use this a lot for, is this going to bring me happiness or am I just chasing pleasure? And there's nothing wrong with pleasure in and of itself, but that's something I do have to be careful with. So kind of always making that distinction was helpful for me. So yesterday, I read over the traditional 12 steps. Since I just did that yesterday, I don't want the video to go on too long, but I figured I would share another iteration of the 12 steps. This is the Stoic 12 steps. There's a Buddhist version. There's a Satanic version, which I'll get into one day. I'll do a whole video on Satanism at some point, I think. That'll be useful. But the Stoic 12 steps. We accept that we are no longer managing our lives as rational and social human beings. 2. We came to understand that virtue, wisdom, self-discipline, justice, and courage can transform our lives to regain our sanity and our place in society. So that's the way that surrender is kind of reconciled if you're going to do like a Stoic iteration of the 12 steps, instead of leaning into a higher power, which almost always comes back to the Christian God, so far as I can tell. In the traditional AA program, they're leaning into the virtues of being just generally a good human being. 3, we have decided to work for a continual progress, to act upon what is ours, to change and to accept what we cannot change. Stoic dichotomy of control and the Serenity Prayer. 4, we have made a searching and honest assessment of our core beliefs, our values, and our goals. 5, we admitted to ourselves and to another person the nature of our moral choices and we have made in the past. 6, we are entirely ready to work to improve our character, to examine our impulses, our judgments, and our intentions. 7, we humbly accept that we must control our rational motivations and our mistaken desires. 8, we understand the social nature of humans, that we are all one family, and that justice is the supreme virtue. That one's a little heady. We understand the social nature of humans, that we are all one family, and that justice is the supreme virtue. Okay, I'd have to think about that one. 9, we have attempted to reconcile ourselves with whoever we have been unjust, with the exception that in doing so would injure them or others. Pretty much identical to the traditional 9th step. 10, we continue to give continual scrutiny to our thoughts, emotions, and intentions, to apply good judgment in all our acts. 11, we sought through conscious attention and meditation to improve our understanding of ourselves and our place in the world, wishing only to understand how we should act socially and rationally for the common good. 12, having undergone a personal transformation through these steps, we will carry this message to others and practice these principles in all of our affairs. So made the video go on a little longer than need be, but just to give an idea of the other options available. There are iterations of AA that have divorced themselves as neatly as possible from religion, from a Christian God, no matter how they keep saying it's your understanding of a higher power. It, so far as I can tell, keeps coming back to Christian God. So that's all I have for today. Thank you guys very much. Come here, Storm. You haven't been in the video because the dogs are always here. Come here, buddy. Oh, the dogs are always in the videos. So this is Storm. All right, see you guys tomorrow.